Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be really relaxed. I'm not going to do a ton of edits. I'm basically just going to rant to the camera about some tips that I've gotten over the past couple of months that have made me way better at Surviv.io. I highly encourage you guys to stick around because I do have some really good tips in here and I think it'll make you a better player. So basically, I have a few bullet points that I want to talk about. I'm not going to do too many edits like I said, but I did want to talk about all the things I have. So, I'll start off with quick switching. I'm sure you guys know what quick switching is. It's basically like using the mouse wheel or the keyboard, of course, to switch from one weapon to another. I started quick switching like around 2 months ago, and since then I've gotten so much better at the game. Basically, it's allowed me to use snipers, it's allowed me to use the M870, and it's really good because I can actually use both my guns when I'm in combat. If you guys don't quick switch, I really highly recommend that you start doing it because it's pretty much necessary to be a good player. Alright, so next on here, I have gun ideas / gun combos. Basically, I'm saying that you need to have a good idea of every single gun in Surviv.io. If you haven't used all the guns at least 3 times, I highly recommend you do so. That way you can find the ins and outs of every gun and you can choose the ones you like. As for gun combos, I highly recommend a short range and a long range weapon because if you're not doing that, then you're not prepared for either a short range or a long range battle. Alright, so next on here is the mini-map / map. So I'm going to get into a bunch of stuff with this because this is really important. So the mini-map is not as important as the map, which you can access by clicking M when you're in game, by the way, in case you didn't know. But the map is important because you can find all of the big buildings near you. And what I mean when I say big buildings is basically like the mansion, the Hydra bunker, the bank, the jail, all of those big buildings where there's a lot of loot and more than likely a lot of players. I highly recommend you go to the big buildings as soon as possible because that way you can get the most kills at the beginning of the game and the most loot as you can. Next on here I have looting. So the important thing about looting is you don't want to over loot, but you also don't want to get nothing. What I try and do is find a house or a barn or something like that and grab a few things such as a gun and maybe a piece of armor. That way I'm prepared for combat, but I didn't overloot and waste a bunch of time in game. This way I find a good balance between safety and of course kills, which you want a lot of. Next on here is spawning time. This is actually pretty important. If you're like me, sometimes I'll just respawn if I spawn late in the round, just because it's harder to get a good start when you're late in the round because a lot of things are already looted and a lot of the big hubs have already been like destroyed. But if you want to keep your stats really high and you don't want to respawn, then there's some suggestions for spawning early and late. If you spawn really early in the round, I'd highly recommend you go to one of the bigger buildings because you'll probably be the first one there and you can get quite a bit of loot before anyone else arrives. But if you're late in the round, go to the smaller buildings like the outhouses and the shacks to get your loot because more than likely people have already looted the bigger buildings, and so you're going to have less of a chance of beating them, and you're going to want to go to the smaller places first, so hopefully you can get the same weapons and guns that they have. Next on here is being able to identify where a player is good and where a player is bad. So basically this is important because a lot of the good players are going to be the ones that might actually take you out, and a lot of the bad players are the ones that you can just attack immediately and kill for an easy kill. Basically, some signs to look for in good players are quick switching, like really fast and jerky movement, and just stuff like that. The reason I bring this up is because you want to be able to identify when you're going to actually need to have a tough battle or a try-hard battle versus when you can just kind of go up to somebody and quickly take them out. This one is specifically for solo squads, but I figured that I would include it because I play a lot of solo squads, and I'm sure you guys play some as well. So, what you need to do is play very, very defensive against squads, especially good squads that, you know, have a lot of armor and guns. Basically, what I mean by defensive is hiding behind a lot of rocks, retreating kind of as much as you can, but more in a circular motion around the map, and taking them out from weakest to strongest. You need to be really, really careful when you go against a squad because if you go right into a squad, you're probably going to get killed. Next on here, I have grenades. So you really want to use grenades to your advantage. I actually have a lot of trouble with this because it really affects my quick switching, so I'm not very good with grenades. But if you've seen Cyper Gaming, then you've seen some really, really good grenade gameplay. Basically, if you're good with grenades, you're able to take out squads or just multiple people on one grenade. Or if you've knocked somebody out and you don't want to bother killing them, you can just throw a grenade at them. Grenades are actually also really, really useful for looting. I use grenades for looting sometimes. Like, if there's 3 boxes all in one place, I'll just throw a grenade on them and hit something else until it blows up. And that way, it saves a lot of time and I'm able to get more kills. Next on here, I have moving patterns. I'm actually not great at this one either, but if you've ever seen FireTTO, he is very, very good at moving. Basically, what I mean by moving patterns is like, when you're fighting somebody else, especially someone good, you need to be able to dodge their bullets for the most part while you're also hitting them. So you need to go in wavy patterns, back and forth, unpredictable patterns that will throw them off guard, and it'll make them miss most of their bullets, basically. If you stand still, you're basically screwed, but you need to be moving around basically at all times during your game. The second to last bullet I have on here is playing with / watching people better than you. I've been watching FireTTO for about 2 months now, ever since I started getting better, and that's because he's actually given me quite a bit of advice through his gameplay on how to get better at the game. There are tons of good YouTubers and live streamers out there that you can watch that are probably a bit better than you at the game, and I highly recommend you do this if you want to get better at Surviv.io. Last but not least, and you cannot forget this, practice makes perfect. It took me 2 months to go from like 15 kill rounds to like 22 to 24 kill rounds. That's a very, very long time, especially for, you know, like the sort of minor difference, not really minor, but I didn't just get better in a heartbeat. It took a while and it took a lot of gameplay. Anyways, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed. For more analysis type videos like this one, leave a like and make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.